welcome to Reality Blows. My name is Nick Maritato.
I'm Ashley Brooke Roberts.
This is a podcast that we talk about some reality sometimes, and sometimes we don't.
Sometimes we just talk about what we've been up to this week.
We are going to talk about reality TV today, though, folks. Later in the show, be doing a little bit of catch up on that Big Brother Season 23.
With a little sprinkle of Survivor Season 6.
How are you, our nice listeners, our blowhards?
Dear listeners.
We hope you had a nice weekend. We had a nice weekend. Are you subscribed to this podcast anywhere, or do you just like find it and listen to it? I know there are some people that do that. They just kind of look for, they remember the podcast they like, and then they search it and they listen to it. Why don't you subscribe somewhere? We're over there on the Apple Podcast app. We're over there on Spotify. Those are two big old places that you could find us. We are on SoundCloud. Are you a SoundCloud person? Are you still into the SoundCloud rap game of 2017? Well, get over to SoundCloud then. We're over there, and I believe we might also be on that thing called Stitcher. I've never seen it before.
There are rumors that we're on it.
But I think we are on it.
And if you want some extra content, check out our Patreon. The second July episode is going to drop later this week. And to be honest, it's a doozy. We had quite a day. If you are already a Patreon subscriber, you know that the first episode of July was us watching the original Space Jam and having a conversation about that. Well, guess what the second episode will be?
Space Jam: A New Legacy, folks. We saw it in the theaters. We also went to a restaurant beforehand. Both were poor experiences, and we will tell you all about it.
I mean, you might be traumatized in a fun way, And
you could find that show and all of our Patreon episodes by going to patreon.com/realityblows. But if you go into the description, there should be a link there. I usually put it there. So $5 a month gets you every one of our podcasts unlocked and 2 bonus episodes each and every month. Believe we are up to, I think once we drop the second one of July, it's like 38 Patreon episodes. So, folks, there's almost 40 extra podcasts you can listen to this week if you just give us $5. You just have it, and then you can listen to 40 episodes in a row, and they are unfettered, unfeathered, unfiltered, and unfun. So get on over there.
I disagree with the last part.
I do too. I was just trying
They're very fun.
They are pretty fun.
But they are uncensored, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what, could you even imagine what it's like when we are less tethered to reality? Yeah, that's right. We are off the rails on Patreon. Get over there, patreon.com/realityblows. Thank you.
So we've been having an interesting week. We've had some social interactions. Nick went to a flea market, and I went on a walk. And here are our thoughts about those activities. First, I want to address my walk. Are you guys still taking your pandemic walks? I stopped for a while. I'm back into it. And since I've been doing the Artist Way, which I'm on week 10, by the way, loving the Artist Way, let me know if you have any questions about it or if you'd like us to talk more about it on the pod, because I've found it to be a very interesting experience. But I've been doing this thing where I leave the house without my phone. I go on a walk without my phone.
And you do that by accident, and then you get really scared. And
no, I look at you and I say, Nick, I'm going on a walk and I'm going to leave my phone here. Are you okay with that? Because I
go, is that an accident? I'm really scared. What are you doing?
I feel like Nick is gonna, if I leave the house, he doesn't know I don't have my phone. He's gonna freak out, call me a bunch.
I would.
Because you always call me at some point on a walk.
Do I?
Always.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because I went on a walk yesterday and having my little chat with old Julia Johns, old JJ. And, you called and it's like, oh, Nick's calling. And it's just, at that point, it's predicted.
Your friends must think I'm crazy that you're with me 24/7. And then that one little half hour that you go for that walk or that hour, I'm calling you.
Yeah. And then when I clicked back over, she was like, what do you have to say? And I was like, he thinks we should spend more time together. Because that's really why you called. You were like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I'm on a walk. And you're like, oh, cool. I was just sitting over here thinking about how we should spend more time together. And I was like, what? I just left the house like 20 minutes ago. Okay, but back to this.
Well, hold on. I mean, now that we're there, I was just saying, and by the way, you told your friend that Excuse me. Hold on. I got to clear my throat. I'm back and I'm better than ever. So you're telling your friends about that. You're telling your friend that our friend, what I said on the phone about how I wanted to spend, I think we should spend more time together. And you're telling these people on this Patreon,
Yeah,
is nothing sacred?
because, also it's funny because you called like 3 times in a row and I kept declining because Julia and I were
what
talking.
the hell?
And I was finally like, Julia, I have to pick this up because it could be an emergency. Nick keeps calling. So when I clicked back over and she's like, what's going on? I just told her the truth. Yeah, of course. You were calling over and over again. Nick is giving me a fun look.
Listen, this
that
is
can
what I
only
meant.
be
This is
described
what I meant. Hold on now.
bitter.
Hold on. It's not bitter. It isn't bitter. You scum, you slime, you swine. No, I was making the point that we are, yes, indeed, around each other quite a bit, but we're really spending time together.
I can't spend any more time with you. I cannot spend any more time. I love you.
I love you too. Yes, she said it.
We maxed
She said
out.
it, folks.
Okay, so on this walk without my phone, right? Like this is a couple days ago, and I'm not doing it every day. I'd say like once a week I go on this walk without my phone. It hit me right in the middle of the walk. Bam, right there on the face like a pie. I go, shit, we're in freaking full on high summer. It is summer. Summer is out. Summer is about. It feels like summer. It smells like summer. It sounds like summer. This is my favorite season. And as soon as you realize you're in high summer, you realize that summer's going to end, And that is so unfortunate that the brain is built that way. But then I was like, it's summer. Oh, crap. I got to get as much as I can out of this summer. And I was just kind of thinking about how like seasons creep up on me. I don't realize I'm in a season until it's weeks before the season starts to end.
Yeah, isn't that the problem with life?
Is it me? Is it everyone? Do you feel that?
I always feel that.
What?
Like I had a similar situation where I'm like, are we in the middle of summer right now? And I'm like, I think we're past that, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, whoa, what happened here?
Right.
When am I gonna finally have my summer fun?
I feel that way with fall or spring, where it's like I start looking around. I'm like, oh, the leaves are falling. What? When did they start turning? And it's like, am I not paying attention? I don't want to be in my head like this. People, do you have the answer? I want to experience the full changing of the seasons.
I have a theory.
Let's hear
This
it.
actually may not be what you're looking for, but for me, I think that the problem with summer, because it really happens with summer for me, like big time, as far as like oh man, it's over. Like, damn it. Like, I should have enjoyed it more. Like, how come I wasn't more present? I think that's because there is no holiday that I'm like marking as the end or beginning. Like, I understand there are holidays in place. Memorial Day, Labor Day, right? Aren't both of those days like kind of isn't Memorial Day like once Memorial Day happens, summer's basically over, folks. We're going back to school. Stop wearing white, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, and I think that what you're talking about, the holiday that sets off the summer is the 4th of July, and we are not big 4th of July people. We don't come
I
from
totally forgot about that.
we don't come from like 4th of July families. Like we're not like those people who like put on like the American flag shirts and like go to the lake house for the weekend.
Yeah,
like that's never been in either of our family's traditions, but I think that that's a big part of people feeling like summer has started. And I also remember when I was at the farmers market, we always started the farmers market the Saturday before the 4th of July, because that was like that. And that always felt like, okay, the summer has begun for me, because people, Chuck, the farmer I used to work for, would always want people to have their corn for their cookout. He'd be like, we got to get the corn to the farmer's market for people's 4th of July cookouts. So I think that's what it is. I think maybe we should embrace the 4th of July and maybe make that holiday a little bit more celebratory for us. But for whatever reason, Nick and I have just like not ever, our families don't really get into it super big.
Well,
and
I mean, in New York City, when we've been together, I don't think that we've done many 4th of July things.
Yeah, I think that it has a lot to do with being in the city too. Because like in North Carolina, I feel like I would get invited to like up like the lake, or like let's do something outside. And in New York, it's like we're having a 4th of July cookout. Do you want to come over? And you're just like these people crammed into someone's backyard,
Or
and
usually a
then
rooftop.
a rooftop.
What I've experienced,
and then by 5 p.m. you're hungover and you want to go home.
There's not much cooking. You
Yeah.
sort of show up around 1 and you start drinking, and then you get really drunk. And that's basically it.
I'm not like, I don't know if this is something I've aged out of or what, but like the idea of just like getting drunk in the middle of the day and then going home does not appeal to me at all. Like I like using my time in ways that are productive or relaxing, and getting drunk in the middle of the day is neither of those things.
Yeah. I think the last time I enjoyed a 4th of July, I dressed up in a lot of American flag gear that I found at a thrift store.
I did have an American flag bikini that I wore in college like 3 years in a row for 4th of July. And I thought that was very fun. And me and some gals would ride our bikes around in our bikinis on the 4th of July. And we're like, woo, happy Independence Day. So maybe it's just a young gal's game is
maybe.
what's going on.
Where's that bikini?
I donated it a long time ago, babe. It was fun because the top of it, instead of stars, it was like, so the bottom was like the red part of the flag, and then the top part was like the blue part of the flag, but instead of stars, it was peace signs. So it was cool.
So it really wasn't an American flag at all.
No, but it was. It was like peace sign star, peace sign star. It was the mix of the two, and then the bottom was like red and white
Seems
stripes.
anti-American, that those peace signs, those fucking hippie commie pieces of shit.
It was cool. It was a cool bathing suit.
There's a infamous Facebook picture you took where you're holding sparklers, I think, right? Or you're giving peace signs on that top. I know that.
I'm in an American flag bikini in front of a wall of rims, and that is an infamous Facebook photo that I think really shook the comedy scene when I started. I think like you guys had never seen a girl tell jokes who had also worn a bikini before.
I don't think
because I remember people like used that photo to like promote shows and stuff, like my first year of comedy, and I would be like, how did they even find this photo?
From a person who met you and looked through your Facebook as you do with a person, and when you meet them in 2000 and when we meet 2008.
No, we met in 2010, but we didn't start talking really 2011.
Okay, so in 2011, you pretty much looked through somebody's Facebook, and that was like one of your prime pictures on there. You had like 12 pictures, and that was one of them.
Okay.
So I don't think it stopped the New York comedy community in its tracks.
I think it did. Everyone had a friggin' heart attack, fell on the ground, started convulsing. Okay, so here's the second thing about walking around without my phone, because you agree with me about this, like this summer panic, right? Like you're like, what the freak? How did it become
summer panic? Having a heart attack because it's over and we're aging too quick.
I was counting like the months that we've been in.
How many summers do I have left? Probably less than I would admit. Summer panic. Oh, fuck, I'm dead. Oh, I fucking don't open my eyes and see the world.
We have to get
oof.
out of our head.
I just died.
Stop. We have to get out of our head and start enjoying the world around us, okay?
That's what my song was trying to say.
I want you to start meditating. Just you. I'm good. So
what? Wait. Right now?
We have to get out of our heads, start appreciating the seasons, be a little bit more like season celebratory. Because I was thinking last summer, I feel like our camping trip in Wilmington, even though that was in September, it felt very like summer, very celebratory. So we need to think about how we're going to do that. Just the two of us. I know we already did our little Seaside Heights summer beach house thing.
How do we do it though, Ash? Do we slap each other out of it?
I think we got to go to the beach more.
Oh.
I think that's really the secret.
We don't look at each other and go, it's summertime. God damn it. It's summer.
Maybe we do that too. I don't know. I love summer. It is 100% my favorite season. And so I need to be eating more watermelon, more cantaloupe, more just living out in the sun.
We don't need to be eating more fruit, Ash.
Yeah, we do. We need to eat more fruit. So then the second thing that happened on my walk without my phone is occasionally when I go out, first off, go take a walk without your phone. For the first 10 minutes, hell, I'm telling you, your mind is scrambling. Oh shit, what am I going to do? I should be collecting Pokemon. I should be checking on this. I should be checking on that. 10 to 15 minutes, it is really uncomfortable. Then when you hit that 20-minute mark, you have eased yourself into some sort of thought process. You're chasing down some sort of idea rabbit through the tunnels of your mind, making connections, and it's incredible. And what will happen if you're a creative person, or if you're just a person at all, is that you start getting ideas. So I've been really doing this as like an idea generator going on this walk. And what I come up with all these ideas, and then I don't have a freaking phone to write them down in. Okay, this is big. So on my walks, I'll do these like memory device tricks where I try and put ideas in the house that we live in. So I'll like imagine an idea being on the porch, or an idea being in the kitchen, or an idea being with Lily on the second floor. And so when I come home and I like go through those spaces, I can remember those ideas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or does it sound like a crazy person talking?
I mean, both, but I get you.
I visualize those ideas living within the space of the home, so that when I come home, there they are. But what happens is...
It's kind of like tying a ribbon around your finger to remind yourself.
Yeah, it's like a metaphorical ribbon, I guess, because there's no physical... It's like...
There's no real reminder
There's
of
no
this
real
idea.
Reminder.
But you did take a piece of paper.
So, hold on.
Okay,
so
sorry.
what happens...
I didn't realize I jumped ahead.
You jumped. So that's what I do when I don't have my phone. And then, but it takes a lot of mental work, because you have to like visualize this idea in a space, right? And then like...
Is this, Artist Way?
No.
Like, who's teaching you this?
This is just something I heard a long time ago about. I think Jim Tews was telling me how he memorizes his hour. It was Jim Tews. He was talking about memorizing an hour of jokes and saying that he puts it through like a journey like a house journey that he walks in. So like the first joke is here, and then this joke is here and here and here and here, so that he gets like a structure for it. I don't know if he read a book on memorizing techniques. I don't know. But I do know that if I put those ideas in our house, when I come back and I walk in, I like walk past, Nanny on the porch, and I'm like, think about that existential TikTok, or like I go to the oven and I'm like, you got to do the thing about the houses, like these ideas I've placed, Easter eggs, I guess. No, Easter eggs is not the right term, but I've placed these ideas throughout the house visually. I'm reminded of them when I walk in. It takes a lot of work. So on this last walk, I'm like, you know what? I have a hack for this. I'm going to take a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm going to write down my ideas as I have them on this walk. And that way I won't have to put all this work into memorizing them. So I did that. And then, I lost the paper. I don't know where the paper is. And I don't remember anything because I didn't force myself to remember them.
You don't remember any of those ideas?
I have one idea, and then I made it into a TikTok yesterday about the tree that I showed you. Mm-hmm. That's the only one I remember.
Okay.
But it's really interesting, y'all. The memory is either there. You got to use it or lose it, okay? And also, if you write things down, hold that piece of paper.
The thing about the house is pretty interesting.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you should try it out. Do you think you could go on a walk for an hour without your phone? Because I don't think you can.
I don't want to at all.
I don't think you could do it.
So
I think you would turn back. And in fact, I'd like to challenge you to do it. I think this is a good challenge for our podcast. Do it in the name of podcasting. Come back next week. Tell us how it went for you. What do you think about that?
Can I keep my Apple Watch?
No.
I need my steps.
No,
this thing doesn't connect if it's out of distance. It only uses my phone for the internet.
Then yeah. So you can't get text on it?
No, I can't.
Okay.
Not if it's like if my phone's in here and I'm out there, no.
Yeah, then let's do it.
I don't know, babe.
I think this is great. This is going to be good for you.
Now, what am I supposed to be doing out there?
You just have to think. Yeah.
No. Can I bring a basketball to bounce?
No.
Why not?
Because you can't, there's no toys involved. You just have to walk and think. No distractions. I want to see if you can do it.
I could do it because I would just bring a backpack that had a notebook
and a pen
in it.
No backpack. I'm saying
I can't have a notebook and a pen?
No, it's
Why?
over. That is over. The notebook and pen thing
No,
doesn't work.
I don't want to think about
Yeah, you got to
my
think.
and then like try to remember it. That seems stupid to
I
me.
just want you to go out there and walk for an hour and see how it goes without anything.
No, I'm gonna take a backpack and a
You
pen
heard
and a
it here
pencil.
first, folks. Nick is going to go out today, walk around with nothing for an hour, come back and report.
You heard it here again first, folks. I'm bringing a backpack, a pencil, and a piece of paper.
Don't bring a backpack. You'll get so hot and sweaty and be uncomfortable.
Are you kidding? I'll bring a little drawstring backpack, and it'll have a little notebook in it and one pen. And I'll walk around for a half hour, and then I'll find a bench.
You got to do
and
an
then
hour.
I'll write down the things that I thought about.
You got to do an
Seems
hour.
like a better plan than what you've been doing.
You got to do an hour because I'm telling you, the first 20, 30 minutes, you're not even busting through to the other side, my dude. So you got to do an hour.
I'm a little better than you, so I'll probably bust through like 10, 15.
Please. I'd like to see you try.
Well, you lost all your ideas, so I'm not too sure what, how this is supposed to be helpful.
I'll find it. It's around here somewhere. The memorizing device is very helpful.
I wouldn't have
And
forgotten as many ideas as you did.
I will go back and do that again. I think I'm scrapping the paper and pen for my next walk.
I'll say that I am.
You're perfect.
I just know that I would have remembered more than one idea. How many ideas do you think you came up with on that walk?
4.
I would have remembered 3 of them. One of them would have lost, even if it just, I can't imagine that I would have forgotten so many ideas. So I do think it's suspect that you forgot all of them.
I said I remembered one, you dinkleberry.
Okay, so what else you got, Ash?
I went to the city. I had dinner with a couple of friends on Thursday night, and we also had like a social night on Sunday. Nick and I had dinner with a couple of friends, and
last night,
and I'm feeling like
you got the Delta variant?
No.
Oh, okay.
Is that how you feel?
No, I just think you're doing a lot of socializing indoors. You might have the Delta variant in you.
Oh, no, I don't feel like I have the Delta variant
Hey, I'm just checking.
at all.
I'm just checking. I gotta check.
But I do feel like I am not. This whole thing about the post-pandemic world and like figuring out how to be social again and all of that, like that is more real than we are giving it credit. I feel like in the beginning, it was kind of like the first couple of weeks, people were like, yeah, it's like, well, we have to relearn how to talk to each other and stuff. And it's like, oh, yeah, we got to do that. And now no one's having that conversation anymore. I'm over here still trying to learn how to be social. Like I am having trouble with it.
I am not, actually.
Oh, tell me more.
I just think that whole like basically the basis of like 65 Saturday Night Live sketches had me thinking that it was going to be really weird and tough the times I get together and see my friends again and I have to socialize. Not the case for me. It just was like normal.
Now, you know what?
Normal.
Last night,
my body just snaps into we're hanging mode.
Last night was actually like the perfect sort of way to do it because like we had dinner, but then we went and did an activity, and that activity didn't involve us just like sitting and talking more. It was more kind of like a casual thing, and then we went on a walk, which was nice. So that was actually, I feel like last night we cracked the code for what kind of socialization I am comfortable with at this point, which is like half talking at a table and then half kind of like doing an activity together. I feel like my thing on Thursday night was just straight talking at a table for 5 hours. And I don't have that in me anymore. It was nice and I loved it and I cherish those memories, but the next day, exhausted.
Yeah, I guess I haven't sat at a table and talked for 5 hours yet. I'll let you know how it goes when I do. I don't think I ever did that ever in my life. But I enjoy an activity. I definitely do enjoy an activity. I was talking about this last night that, in certain situations, I've been in where we've had to hang out with people and we didn't have activities booked. It was a little tough for me. But that's like me normal pre-pandemic. I need something going on because if not, I get like too much. I feel like there's too much pressure in having to keep up a conversation for that long. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I could do it, it's not necessarily a pandemic thing. It's more of like a, fuck, I don't want to do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
A dread, like, oh my God, we have to go to this fucking party and sit there for a bunch of hours and talk to these people, and there's no escape. I need an escape, like hey, look,
Yeah.
well, let's go fly this kite.
I'm realizing that is something that I used to have built into my like outings. Like I used to always carry around a camera. I used to always have like my little Polaroid mini camera because that allows you to like either enter a conversation, I want to take your picture, or exit a conversation, I want to go take this picture. And I used to always carry a pack of cards on me because even if you're just sitting down and talking, if you're playing cards, you still have something that is like grounding the experience that it's all revolving around. So I think that's what I need to remember, my little tricks that I've already developed for myself, camera and cards, and just get those back into my life because I'm kind of just throwing myself bare into these situations.
Well, let's see. You had a camera and cards. I feel like carrying a pack of cards around is kind of like what like Clint Eastwood would do in like his cowboy movies or something.
I used to always have cards in high school and college, always have a pack of cards on me.
Not me. I always kept a switchblade, a roll of quarters, a
So
stick
why
of
don't you
gum.
tell them about our night last night? You had mentioned wanting to talk about that.
I think we already did.
We said we had dinner.
You gave the rundown. We ate dinner.
Uh-huh.
We went. We played pinball.
We went to the pinball museum, which is so fun.
Yes, that was really fun. We haven't gone there since the pandemic, and we went there last night, and it was a lot of fun. We played our favorite game, which is the Simpsons arcade. And
I think we were too big for 4 people to play.
4 people were playing, and it was just we were all kind of squeezed in there.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this was not like, were people smaller back in the day where 4 people could play an arcade game like that? Because there's 4 joysticks.
Yeah, they're called children.
How dare you?
Were people smaller back in the day?
But like adults tried to play too, right? I assume the Simpsons arcade adults were playing.
4 grown-ass adults playing one arcade cabinet is hard.
It was too much of a smush.
It's hard. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Ashley and I found this like baseball pinball game, and I was playing it, and I was getting the hang of it, and I brought Ashley over, and I was like, hey, check out how good I am at this. And I played 2-player. It's where basically just a little pinball comes out, and you got to hit it with this little bat, and then if it hits certain things, it's like first, second, third, or home runs and stuff, and you just kind of do one inning versus somebody else. And I was doing pretty good. I brought Ashley over, and I put 2 players in, and I only got 2 runs, and then Ashley got like 10 runs, and she beat me.
I got like 22 points, yeah, because I hit 2 I got 2 into like the very top level, and I just really beat Nick right away, and Nick was like, man, I really just wanted to like show you how good I was at this.
Yeah, but
and I was like, this is easy. And then Nick was like, no, we gotta play again. We gotta play again. And Nick challenged me, and then just proceeded to clean up.
I just kicked her ass like 3 times in a row, and you owe me $2.
I do owe Nick $2.
I mean, I hit so many home runs. I got like 38 points. It was so good. I love those games.
Yeah, me too.
The baseball pinball games, there's a few. And what was next to us, there was like that little gun shooter, which I wish we played.
Yeah.
We didn't play that. We have to go back to the pinball museum, just you and I, and like get into it.
I will say that there was like I did play one gun game that was it was on the other side.
I know that one.
And I like it. It's fun, but you do have to put your face down to the gun to like line up the mark.
Too
and
much.
I already felt weird about how much we were touching all these things that other people were touching. But then when your face is into this thing, I'm like, you know what? I'll wait until the Delta variant's gone before I do another gun game.
I still might do it. It looked really cool. That one next to the baseball game looked really cool. But next to that, there was another different baseball game. And I was like, ooh. Because we played the one, which is like the ultimate one, which is the long cabinet of it's
like the oldest game in there.
Yeah, it's like from 1919, and it's like a baseball game. And it's really
awesome.
fun. and it's much harder than the other game that we were playing.
Yeah.
Because there's no hydraulics. Because the one we were playing was definitely made in like the 70s or something, and so when you hit the button, the bat like snaps like real quickly.
Yeah.
And in the old game, there are no hydraulics, so when you're like hitting that button, like your physical force has to like actually hit the pinball.
You got to bring some muscles.
But there's another one that was really cool looking. It had like a little stick, like a little joystick instead of like a flipper, and I was like, ooh, I wonder what that is. So I gotta play that now.
All I want to do when we go there is I just want to play air hockey and skee ball, which we barely played.
Skee ball.
We did one game of skee ball last night, but like that's what I'm interested in. I'm not like, and I wish I could get into pinball machines because I feel like it's perfect for me. Right? I feel like I look at it and I'm like, this is something I should be super into. I'm just not. I'm not into the pinball. And I don't know if it's because it's single player and I like playing with another person. But I try really hard to get into pinball and I just get bored. Would love us to play air hockey. I could play air hockey for hours, skee ball for hours, pool for hours. I think I need another person. That's what I'm realizing right now. Because
you could play pinball against somebody. You just do 2-player. You have to go back and forth.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then let's do that.
Most of those machines have the ability to hit the button twice and 2 players are on.
I don't know why. Pinball like loses my attention.
It's not. I never liked it either. I like it more now than I ever did. Like last night, I was like, oh, I would like to just play one of these pinball machines. I like the 70s.
Yeah, the
like
70s
and 80s pinball machines are really great, and I would
the
like
Addams Family one. Sorry to interrupt, though, but they have like the Addams Family one from the movie, and that one's my favorite.
Not my favorite because I've seen that a bunch at different arcades, and I think the Creek in the Cave had the Addams Family one for a while.
Yeah,
like, I've just seen it. I like the obscure ones that are like. That are like it's a pinball quote unquote museum, even though you could go there and play all of them. But there are some really pristine like 70s ones. Like you were playing one right next to. I played a bowling pinball game, and you played one which was like the Sun God or something from the 70s, and there was just like a spinning sun in the middle. But it's such it looks so sharp and almost like 70s Marvel like art. And I was like, ooh, I'd like to just kind of actually get a good score and spend time on one pinball machine and like learn how to like play it and do well. And I was like, maybe I'll come here by myself during the day one day and just play pinball. Ash, you want to start talking about Survivor?
I absolutely do. So as you know, Nick and I have been loving Lost. We are about 9 episodes into the 3rd season, and I guess it's just given us like it's planted a seed for wanting some more sort of island action.
Hold on. Loving Lost?
Yeah, we love it.
We're loving it? No. Every episode I tell you I'm never watching the show again. I don't know how you're getting love out of that.
Nick freaking loves it. The other day he was like, I miss Jack. I was like,
no, we were watching the show and I said, boy, I miss Jack because at least when Jack was around, the show was like on the rails a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of gone off the rails.
But
slightly.
Now Jack is mostly the show and it's still off the rails. So I take everything I said back.
No, Jack is making it feel a little bit more grounded.
I don't know about that.
So we were like, well, let's do a season of Survivor. And I don't know why Nick picked season 6. I don't know. 7. What made you pick that?
Because I have a list of a non-spoiler list of ranked seasons.
Yeah, like the best seasons.
That is of the ones that we've watched, that this is the lowest, this is the highest ranked season. This is the lowest numbered season with the highest rank on that list out of 40 seasons.
Oh, okay.
So like they put this at like number 8
Gotcha.
of the best of all time or something like that. And we've watched like the first 5 or 6, like pretty much the seasons that I've chosen for us is coming off of this list. And we've watched like a lot of the top 10 so far. This is one that we haven't watched. It is, I believe, season 7. I don't know do you know where they are?
I do not know where they are.
I don't know. I never retain where they are.
Yeah, me neither.
They're in Fiji in all the late episodes, but late seasons. But back when they were switching it around, I couldn't tell you. But it's this is a good season because it introduces a lot of really big and I would say iconic Survivor characters. That being Sandra, her first season. That being Rupert's first season, and also somebody that we haven't actually had the privilege to watch any of their seasons. I think they've done 2, which is Johnny Fairplay. They may have done 3.
Yeah.
But all on the same season, all in the same tribe.
Yeah.
Very fascinating. Such big characters came out of that tribe.
So far, it's been really, really, really fun to watch. I am loving being back in Survivor, but it does create quite a dilemma at night when we go, what are we going to watch, Lost or Survivor? So that's my only issue with it so far. But it's interesting because this season starts off with like Jeff bringing them to a town and being like, you have like a little bit of money and now you have to go barter for all the goods that you want to use. And it feels very much like Amazing Race. And so we were like, this is probably the year that Amazing Race came out and Survivor's trying to incorporate some of their tactics. Rupert, I understand why he's so beloved based off this first season. We have seen him in other seasons and he's not one of our faves. But this season,
I like seeing Rupert, but he's not. I mean, I believe this season is the season they introduce the fan favorite, and where they give them like $1 million.
Didn't they do that for him?
I believe they created it to give Rupert like some money and a spotlight on the show
because he was so loved.
He's so featured on the show. It's just the Rupert season, And
we couldn't believe Johnny Fairplay showed up at Tribal drunk. And then Jeff said, "Are you loaded?" And then he said, "Yeah." And then Jeff's like, "Do you think that's a really respectful way to treat people you've been living with for the past week or whatever?" And Johnny Fairplay was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
I find it fascinating. So Johnny Fairplay is now, he's got a podcast, and he talks about Survivor. He talks about Big Brother. He talks about the challenge on his podcast. It's called the Survivor NSFW podcast. It's pretty big in the Survivor land because it is a Johnny Fairplay deal.
Yeah.
And
didn't know this.
Yeah, and so he's got this whole sort of podcasting situation going on. Not my favorite podcasts. I for a second was listening when I was like really trying to like absorb all of Big Brother coverage last season.
Yeah.
Mostly because we were like completely on lockdown and I had an excuse to like, listen to like 2 hours worth of Big Brother content every day.
Right. And we were new to the franchise.
Right. I was watching and I was listening. And actually season 40, I think I watched of Winners at War. I think that's when I was really listening, which was the same deal, So I've listened to some of that stuff. He is also a like loosely affiliated with wrestling as well. And so he shows up on other podcasts I listen to. He used to show up on the PW Torch podcast, which is the Pro Wrestling Torch. And it's like one of the oldest sort of like, if you want wrestling news, you get it from Wade Keller at the Torch. And he was on there, but like stopped showing up because on as like a pundit for things, because I think Wade doesn't like him because he is like everybody else they bring on the show is like a normal person who's like happy to be there. And like Johnny Fairplay is like sarcastic and like mean sometimes, like because he just seems like he might be a jerk. And I think Wade doesn't like him. I think he's kind of a jerk. So I had never watched any of his Survivor seasons, but this is how I kind of got to know Johnny. And then you see him on the show and he's like, all the cut scenes of him are just like him like cutting up and like trying to make people laugh. But he's also presenting a bit, like he's not projecting, but he's
putting on a show.
And I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I put it together. He is, I believe, already sort of trying to get into wrestling because he was a wrestling manager on television for TNA Impact, and he worked for actual wrestling companies, and he got paid to be a wrestling manager after his Survivor fame. And his Johnny Fairplay thing is that's not his name. His last name isn't Fairplay, and is like he does these two F's, like Johnny Fairplay, play fair, like what's his name was asking him like, what's the deal with this? Who doesn't like him at this time? What's
Yeah,
his name?
Jeff clearly does
Jeff
not
like
like
doesn't
him.
like Johnny Fairplay, and he's like, yeah, Johnny Fairplay. He is building he's like doing.
He's building a character.
He's a manager. He's
Yeah.
playing like a wrestling manager
That
on
makes
this
sense.
show because it's like he's like a not a good guy, but he's pretending to be a good guy with fair play, but he doesn't play fair and all that stuff. So that's sort of like how you build a wrestling character. I just find it fascinating that like he is so. He's playing Survivor in a way that's like going to build himself a character later on, and it worked. And he got a whole career out of being this person on Survivor, and then being asked back for like one of the first like all-starry seasons or something. Not sure why he wasn't on Heroes vs. Villains. He seems like he would fit right in on the villains camp.
Yeah, that's a good
I think
question.
maybe they didn't want to work with him or something. I know Survivor sued him.
What?
Because he had the Survivor podcast, and he had the name like Survivor Podcast, and they sued him and made him change his name to the Survivor NSFW podcast.
Oh.
So I don't think he has a good relationship with CBS and all that stuff, but he was able to build enough of cachet because he was in on this franchise when it was probably at its hottest, and then presented at like the MTV Movie Awards and did some like silly ass shit where he was like kind of like did like a stunt, and he jumped on Danny Bonaducci's back, and he was having a conversation with Danny Bonaducci, and Danny Bonaducci was like, hey everybody, he came out and he was like, this is peak Danny Bonaducci, like breaking Bonaducci, VH1. He's like an alcoholic. You know, he's losing his life and his career, and it's one of these first docu-series where like a down and out celebrity has allowed VH1 to film him spiraling. This happened to a few people, especially at VH1 was so important when it came to like exploiting people and celebrities who are down and out. And Bonaducci was the first one. And so Bonaducci has new fame. He's like a weird boxer and alcoholic and an asshole and a radio personality, and he's on the MTV Movie Awards as well. And Johnny Fairplay comes out, and you can watch this on YouTube. He comes out and he acts like an idiot because that's what Johnny Fairplay does. And then Danny Bonaducci comes out and goes, hey, I just want to ask the audience, like, do you guys think this guy is funny? Because I think he's a fucking asshole and he sucks. And like the audience is like, yeah. And Johnny Fairplay's like, what the fuck? Like, why'd you come out here and do this? And he kind of like hugs him or something and then jumps on his back, I believe. Some sort of physical thing. And what's his name? Bonaducci flips this guy off his shoulders and like, he hits his head on the ground, and Johnny Fairplay just holds his head and like walks off stage. And then he sued Danny Bonaducci for like $1 million and won for assaulting him.
Yeah.
And so between being on Survivor and then having this Danny Bonaducci thing, which gave him fame, but also a lot of money, this guy's been able to kind of coast off his fame and have podcasts and Patreons and et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure before podcasts, he had some sort of like a video vlog thing that he did. And then
he's good at self-marketing.
He's good at self-marketing, and he was doing it from day one. Johnny Fairplay's not his name. He's like, I got a character. I'm a big wrestling fan. And you can tell when he talks about, Wade doesn't have, Pro Wrestling Torch, Wade Keller won't have people on who doesn't know just because he's famous. Like, he knows it, you know, and he's been around the business and stuff. And he created a wrestling character for himself that allowed him to make money for the rest of his career just by being like a heel, like a kind of a shitty people. There's a whole sequence in which Sandra is just sitting talking to the camera where we see cutscenes of Johnny like doing like goofy things. Sandra just fucking hates him. Rupert too, just like, this guy's a fucking dick. But guess what? He made his money off all that stuff. So I do find it pretty interesting to see sort of the beginnings of people's reality careers at the beginning of like the reality apex of like the year 2003 or something. I mean, when did this happen?
This is like 2005, maybe?
I don't know. I wish I knew, but
2004.
Another fascinating thing about this, and I'm talking a lot, but stop me if you want to jump in, is I'm, spoiler alert, guys, fairly certain that Sandra wins this season. And this is one of those, they do a live draw at the end of the thing, and we get to see who wins. But like, we have watched 7 episodes out of like what is going to be like 15 to 20. Boy, is Sandra not featured on any of these, really.
She's kind of like, I mean, it's not that she's not featured.
She's not getting a winning edit
She's not getting a winning edit, but she's definitely not like playing a background character like some of the other people. Like, she's definitely in it. And there are some points that they've made with like how good she was at bartering and how important that was to set the tribe up, because she spoke the language. And then we've seen her like arguing with Fair Play about like who should sit out, and she's giving us some colorful commentary. I will say there are people on her team that we don't get much from, like that gal that they were going to send home, but then they send home another person. And you know, there are
people that have less, but knowing that she is going to win this season,
yeah.
You look at this and you go, this is a Rupert. This is a Rupert season.
This is a Rupert season, or it's that guy who's like the leader of the other tribe that's doing so poorly.
Yeah.
It could also be his season.
Yes, but also like, you know, that guy's not going to win. I mean, I guess eventually they're going to merge and it'll be different, but
he's getting a good at it.
He is. He's getting a nice guy at it.
He's getting a nice guy at it.
And you say that we see him again. We've watched his.
We've
that
watched
guy's
him.
season.
Yeah.
What's his name? God,
I don't
Blandy
know.
McBlanderson.
We saw him on Second Chances or whatever.
He's kind of almost got like a classic movie star look.
He looks like he could be sort of a play Superman. Basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got like he seems like a
chiseled and
he's not built, but he's got a big jaw, and he's kind of looks like he would fight for what's right.
Yeah, he seems like trustworthy. Like he's got that all American, like Leave It to Beaver kind of. But
I imagine
also,
chivalry is not dead in his household.
Absolutely.
You know, but I'll tell you, it's a pretty fun season. I don't know how much further I'm going to go back than season 7 at this point. I believe we have watched season 6 already, but I just don't know that I'm gonna. I mean, we talked to our friends Sean and Aaron last night, and we were talking a little Survivor, and Aaron was talking about something they referenced season 2.
Yeah.
With that dude who fell in the fire.
Right.
And it's like, I don't think I'm gonna go back to season 2. I really don't want it to be any less than. I want strategy. There's not much strategy in this game.
Well,
but it's fun to watch Rupert like shit on everybody with fishing, and then one team. This is one of these seasons where they. Like, eventually through Survivor, they realize, like, we got to keep giving these people snacks and stuff to win, because we want them to be active so the show is more exciting. This is a season where it's the Morgan tribe versus the Drake tribe. Drake tribe has Rupert, so they're eating good, and Sandra, and they bartered for 1 million chickens, like, before that.
Yeah.
They had so much stuff to start with. The Morgan tribe fucking flubbed in the beginning. They don't have anybody that even knows how to use the fishing deal that they have. And they're like starving, cold, wet, and the Drake tribe is just thriving. You're just watching a team like die of like hunger, and they're not winning any food. They're not eating any food at all, and it's just a boring slog. But so you have to kind of get into it on like a, are they ever going to get it together level, rather than like, look at the strategy that's being played level.
Yeah.
So I'm more into the strategy. I think Ash is too.
Well, you brought up a good point, and you're saying it right now without fully saying it, which is that, but I know that it's something we've discussed before, which is that at some point Survivor is like, okay, it's not fun watching people starve.
Right.
So let's make it so that these people have water and food, and it's not about like will or will they not die. Let's take that element out of this and make it more about like living conditions are very harsh, so people are mentally on the edge, but they still have enough food and water to be able to play games.
Yes. I mean, regardless, having a good time watching this season. It's kind of fun seeing these players, and it's a good cast.
Yeah.
So I like that. Let's talk a little bit about this season of Big Brother. So last night,
it.
we were all caught up with the episodes. So last night, they had their Sunday episode where we got to see the nominations for who's going up on the block. If you're a watch, by the way, there's going to be spoilers based on the episodes, but we're going to try and not spoil feed stuff for you. So that's how we're doing this. But last Thursday, they voted Frenchie out. Frenchie, an epic week or 2 weeks for Frenchie in the house. The highest highs and the lowest lows. The highest highs came quick. The lowest lows came quicker.
What a splash this guy made.
I mean, we were talking about this last night, and I don't know if I blew your mind. It looked like I did.
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm about to tell you?
Yeah, I do.
I was like, we were talking about Frenchie. I go, here's the thing about Frenchie. He's like, this ain't the end for Frenchie. You're going to see Frenchie again on a Big Brother in some way, shape, or form in the next couple of seasons. And I think they're going to give him a second chance.
Yeah.
He made such a splash. He is responsible for the best first week in many, many seasons.
Absolutely.
So it's how are you not going to bring Frenchie back? Everybody, he made such a fool of himself. He was such a big fan. But he's not a bad guy, so I don't think the fans would be upset to see Frenchie back.
Right. He's not a villain.
No.
He's just a fool.
He's a fool.
He's a clown.
He's a clown. And but he seems like a nice guy. I've watched a lot of his exit interviews, his post-eviction interviews, and I feel fucking bad for him. It's like a sorry sack of shit tour.
Yeah.
Of like a bunch of people being like, so Frenchie, like you were a big fan? He's like, yeah. And then he's like, so what do you think went wrong? He's like, I was too big of a fan. I think I probably should have just played for my own game and not for Twitter. That's the party line he's got going. So, I mean, if you want to watch some of those interviews, they're pretty embarrassing a little bit. I feel bad for him. But I'm holding on to the fact that I do think Big Brother, in the way that they'll bring a player back in again to play every once in a while. They'll stick them in with a cast of new people. This is an all fresh new cast. So I think people are going to like this season a lot more than a lot of other seasons. So I'm not too sure if next season